Hey guys, Matt Lemke here with Jonathan Nelson at, you can't see AAW, but we're at Adventure a Week at Gen Con. Yeah, it's right there. And he's third-party RPG publisher, and he does a lot of wonderful stuff. Some of you may have seen my review on Snow White, I don't know, 8-9 years ago. But I haven't had a chance to talk with Jonathan since then. In its entirety, Rise of the Drow has come out and fallen.
They've fallen. The Drow have now fallen.
Yes.
They rose and then they fell.
Yes. So, Rise of the Drow is not new news, but the Fall of the Drow is in fulfillment now, right? For Kickstarter, or you just Kickstarted it, it's over, right?
Well, before we jump into that, I noticed that you say Drow, and I have to say something that lots of people say Drow, right?
Yes.
But when asked about this, Gary Gygax, who had said that when he originally came up with it, he actually took the word from, I don't quote me on it, but I believe it's like ancient Norse mythology of something, I think it was Thro, or something thereabouts, right?
Oh.
And so when you say Drow, it's closer to Thro. So a lot of people say, most people say Drow. I'd say 90%, 95%. But your pronunciation may actually be closer to the actual origins of the word. So if anyone ever tells you that's not how you say it, you can tell them that little bit of information.
There's a lot of information on it online, and I actually did research it at one point in time.
Nice.
And everything I said is like, you say it the way you want to say it.
That's what Gary Gygax said. He said, you say it the way you want to say it at your table. It's up to you.
Yeah, well, you know, there was these articles that I read that go, it's spelled like this. You got D, row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Row, as in row. Or you've got dra, ow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I like drow better. But
it's whatever one you
knowing
like.
It's from Norse, that gives me something to research now.
Yeah. And don't quote me on that. I can't remember if it is Norse mythology, but I know it is some kind of European mythology that Thro.
How long will it take me to go through Google Translate?
Okay.
And just
I wouldn't do Google Translate. I definitely would look for the origins of Drow, the origins of the word Drow, and then go from there.
Oh, well, no, but you could go through it and find its base and then go into the mythology.
You can do that now in Google Translate.
Well, you got to click each language.
Okay, so you can basically the etymology of words. You can do that now through Google Translate.
A good bit, like it'll try.
That's handy.
But like if I want to, like in English, if I want, I use it for naming characters a lot.
Oh,
like I want somebody
idea.
to be called Rager.
Okay. But you go through.
I'll go and I'll find the enunciation of Rager that I like, or the spelling that I like in different languages.
I like that. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of one. So in the game world that I'm creating, gnomes are kind of non-existent. They're very hidden underground and have disappeared, thought to be dead.
Okay.
And I have Polish background.
Okay.
So for the gnomes, everything is Polish based.
Whoa.
In language. So it's like I can go in here and I could be like, oh, well, I already know some words like unclean and things like that from when my grandmother used to tell jokes. They're not necessarily politically correct.
Yeah.
But
as former or earlier generations typically would be. Yes.
Yes. So I'll just go through and I'll be like Rager, and then I'll translate it into 2 or 3 different languages to see which one I want it to use.
That's awesome.
And it has been very helpful there, and it can even detect languages. Like you can put it in the one side, and it sometimes, a lot of times it comes back, it doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you could put Drow in, and
it will figure out like what language that could possibly be. That's cool. That's handy.
I don't know if Norse is one of the languages on there. But
I mean, I'm sure
it might come back as like Icelandic.
Yeah, I'm sure you could put Norwegian or what have you, but I like that because, like in our Rise of the Drow, we have the Spider Goddess, and obviously we don't have Lolth because Wizards of the Coast would be coming after us, right?
Right.
But we do have Nereneus, and if you look at the word Nereneus, in multiple languages that means spider.
Yep.
And then we also have things like we have a big like kind of tortoise-like creature that, you know, slowly moves through the underworld, but is massive, has this really strong shell, and so the dwarves use them because it's safer for them to ride on the backs of these things and have kind of these tent cities of all of their merchant goods and stuff, and they can have these giant, slow, plodding creatures that carry this huge weight on their back through the underworld. We call them skilled patters, and skilled patter in multiple languages also means turtle or tortoise. So we do the same thing many times where we will take a word and find a version of it in another language that is more interesting.
Yes.
But it is funny when you get someone buying the books that's from that country and then they read something and there's like, sometimes there's even something funny about it. We've had people contact us because one of my authors, Stephen Yeardley in England, likes to do everything with Finnish. Anything like all his names, he likes to do Finnish names. And sometimes he names them kind of funny things that when they translate back. Yes. So someone that's Finnish reads it and they laugh, because there's some little joke in there or something.
I honestly think I learned that trick here at Gen Con at one of the Writer Symposium panels. Somebody's like, oh, use it.
Probably.
And that's when I started using it. I mean, I'm doing that for, I don't know, probably close to, my kids were in high school. About 8 years now I've been using it.
That's great. Stuff like that. That's great. It's a handy tool for sure. I mean, who would have known that, in this day and age, we have tools like that at our disposal.
Yes. Well, pretty soon they're going to be able to do it with voice, right? And you're talking to the phone and it's going to do it. It might already do it. But anyway.
It probably does.
Back to, so why have the Drow fallen?
Well, let's see. Rise of the Drow, our most popular book ever. Levels 1 through 20, you get these adventures. They come from the surface. They go into the Underdark. They find out all these races are in trouble down there and that they're being raided by the Drow, and all of these captives are being taken into slavery and their souls are being ripped from their bodies and sacrificed into this artifact so that this Drow matron can continue to grow in power. And they eventually go into the Drow city. They eventually go to the top of Tolgorth Tower. They fight the matron Maelora at the top of her tower. She's basically the lady in charge of the entire city, this massive Drow metropolis. And they defeat her. The tower falls. The artifact is destroyed. The tower implodes as it was once a stalagmite. And as it comes down, it starts blowing up, and there's portals to the demiplane of venom. They spew venom out into the city. The thing falls. A large section of the city is destroyed. And after that, she still, somehow her essence escapes because she's obviously has a backup plan. So then her essence goes into the demiplane of venom. And in our world, Nereneus exists in this plane. This is the spider goddess, right? So, and this matron is the chosen of the spider goddess. So you have the chosen of the spider goddess in the demiplane of venom. And then the adventurers follow her there. And they fight her in her new form, her dark angel form, and they defeat her. So they defeated the chosen of the spider goddess on her own plane of existence. At that point, the spider goddess says, "You are not worthy of me," and she walks away from the Drow. And her spider temple, shaped like a spider, literally gets up and walks out of the city. At this point, they now have lost all divine power. A coalition of good guys come into the city, destroy what's left, occupy the city, and start to indoctrinate the Drow into their way of life and try to teach them how to be, quote unquote, better people. That's where this has all happened after Rise of the Drow, and we're now moving into Rise of the Drow After the Fall, which is our new series of books where you start out as Drow or Drider. Instead of choosing your race, you choose your house. But you have to figure out how, with ulterior motives and all the ulterior motives that all the different Drow houses have, how do we as a group work together? Because everyone at the table might be from a totally different house. They might even have once been your enemy. They might have once had it out for you, going back thousands of years. But if you don't work together, all the Drow will fail. All the Drow will continue to fall. So you have to claw your way back to power and figure out how do we work together despite all of our differences and all these ulterior motives. So it creates a very complex and interesting social role-playing game, role-playing scenario.
That is a lot more complex than just hack and slash, that's for sure.
It is, but there will be hack and slash as well, of course.
Yeah.
But there also will be much more stealth. A lot of the scenarios are like infiltrations, almost like Metal Gear Solid, where you have to stealth your way in because now that you're the Fallen, that means everything's against you. The whole system's built against you. So how do you navigate this new world and how do you bring things back to power? The Coalition's having you go into ruins, retrieve artifacts in Nereneus, and they get taken back to the Redemption Forge where they're melted down and changed into artifacts that benefit the new god.
Sounds like more politics too.
There's politics. There's politics. There's the complexity of the houses, the complexity of the Coalition and how that plays into that. And not only that, but in the Coalition, it's formed of a multitude of different races, some of them good, but also some of them evil, like the Gitverk, which the Gitverk are one of our dwarven subspecies. that basically live so low in the underworld, they're on the fringes of hell itself. And so they take pacts with devils, and they do very evil things like flame flesh and imbuing it with powers and doing really awful and terrible things. And this coalition of, again, quote unquote, good guys they're not all good, and they're not all doing good things, you know? So you end up with some very interesting things where the coalition itself can become fragmented as well. You ready to go?
Yep.
Or I'm going back into an interview real quick, but
all right,
I'll be back in a second.
So we just finished up talking about the Rise and Fall of Drow before my camera decided to die a battery. And that brings us to, gosh, you want to go with more D&D stuff, or you want to go with Pathfinder stuff?
We could do either or both, or I could tell you about our new Drow Borg thing coming up. That's a rules light role-playing game that we're going to be putting out.
Well, we're still with the Drow, so let's do that.
Yeah, sure. So we're talking about Rise of the Drow After the Fall. So After the Fall is, you know, the follow-up of Rise of the Drow, and this time you're playing Drow starting at first level, Drow or Drider. You choose your house, you choose obviously your class, and get going on that quest as kind of the oppressed in the city. Well, we decided to take what we'd created story-wise and setting-wise for that, and do something kind of grimdark and even darker than what had happened in After the Fall, and do something called Drow Borg. And what Drow Borg is kind of a Mork Borg compatible spin-off. And what it is it's a rules light system, like a lot of the other ones that you've seen out recently. But this
edition-ish,
yeah,
feels to me.
Yeah, or like first edition, but even lighter, right? Like Shadow Dark, like the recent Shadow Dark is kind of, I picture like first edition, but like, you know, rules light version, so that you can kind of get playing quickly, but there's still a high chance of death.
Very.
You know, like back in the day when you'd have a wizard with 1 hit point and a rat bites you, and that's it. You're all done. 0 hit points, and that means you're dead.
I've played some saves. Pirate Borg, and it's
Is it quite brutal?
It can be.
Did you die?
Well, I was the GM, so no.
Did anyone else die?
Several times.
So, yeah, see, there you go. So this is one of those where you generate your character through a bunch of random rolls and things like that, and then figure out how you're going to progress in the story and in the game. And a lot of times you end up having to use your wits to overcome things. We're in the alpha build of it right now. So our game masters who are running games in our games room over at the JW Marriott here,
nice.
We have like 6 different games that are running. We have about 18 tables that go all day there. And they're running a bunch of games for 5e. After hours, one of the days, I had just the GMs as a special invite, and just a smattering of them were able to make it because, you know, Gen Con, everybody gets stuff booked up like crazy. Right. But it was great because some of them were old friends, some of them were GMs have been coming for years and running for us, and we got to sit down, and I got to run them an alpha build of Drow Borg, and actually one of the GMs right here getting some free loot right now at the booth as we speak, which is nice. Thank you, Jake, for running games. But yeah, so we sat down, we got to play a game of it, and I couldn't believe it. 3 of the players ended up starting out with just 1 hit point. And I don't know how, but through sheer luck and high rolls, no one died. And I couldn't believe it because every time I've run this before, we had at least 1 to 3 player character deaths.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe it. But that's the fun of these kind of rules light games, is that you know that you're up against the seemingly impossible, and there's something really exciting when you're actually able to overcome some like really crazy challenges, a lot of them through sheer wit. You know, how can we outsmart this? How can we overcome this? How do we avoid this challenge? Or who's going to step up to do this, that, or the other thing? You know, it's like pretty cool. But Drow Borg is like even darker than the After the Fall, in the fact that you're Drow living in ruins, a lot of times even underneath the city, and your city's completely destroyed. The demi-plane of venom is spilled into the city everywhere. There's toxic pools of venomous sludge all over. And as you're moving about, you're starting to mutate. And so in this game, as you're making rolls, if you fail a roll, you get a venom point. You can use a venom point to re-roll anything you want, but if you fail that re-roll, you get a mutation. Like you might get a spider appendage, like a spider leg springs out from here, and all of a sudden, or you might start twitching, and you might develop all of a sudden 8 eyes, you know? And there's usually some kind of a boon and some kind of a bane with each of these, right? So something good, something bad comes from each of these mutations. Well, as time goes on, if you get too many mutations, you turn into a monster. And at that time, usually in D&D, you might turn over your character sheet to the DM, not in this case. You get to become a monster, and you can go ahead and start trying to attack, kill the characters, do whatever you want, really. You know, you can just go mad and go after the party. You're essentially, now you've switched over to the dark side or what have you. But it's gritty, it's dark. I mean, you might start out with like a bone shiv as a weapon and, you know, some piecemeal kind of garbage armor, but it's like you're starting out from the bottom and you are clawing your way back trying to find relevancy for the drow once again in the Underdark, but you've got a long ways to go.
It sounds brutal.
It's very brutal.
It sounds a lot more brutal than Pirate Borg was.
Oh, it's going to be much more brutal because not only is there player death, but there's a lot of mutations happening as well, and then players possibly even turning against each other. Whereas Rise of the Draft of the Fallen 5e, it's kind of like, how do we figure out how to work together? This one's like, well, who's going to be alive at the end of this mess?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Now, is your Drow Borg book going to be as packed as all the other Borg books? Like they have, I don't know if they use margins.
Yeah.
I mean, they are packed with tables and charts and little sidebars, and like it's this little book.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think one of them is over 90 pages.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be super lengthy, right? I want to keep it nice and trim. Each of the different things that you roll, like if you're rolling like your background, for example, or you're rolling like your weapons or whatever, like each of those will have its own page, right? So you'll have like, here's your background page, here's your page of armor, here's your page of belongings, you know. So like character generation is as simple as roll your dice on this page, I have this, this, and this, flip the page, this, and this, you know. So the character generation section shouldn't be too complex or too lengthy. And be pretty straightforward, but I do want to have, I am very much into quality in our books, not just in the content, but in the book itself. And as time has gone on, we keep setting the bar higher and higher. So I'm going to make sure that this book has all those extra trimmings so that I want it to look toxic. I want it to look acidic and venomous. I want the cover to be, the cover's going to be kind of, I'm thinking a matte black with the text on it having almost kind of a drippy, kind of strange, gooey, toxic acid sludge kind of look to it. And we'll probably carry on some of those thematics through the rest of the book as well. But I definitely want to give it all those extra trimmings. We always do, like, you know, usually we do ribbon bookmarks, head, tail bands, a lot. I may not do ribbon bookmarks in this one because it's going to be a shorter book. But we'll probably do head, tail bands. We'll probably do some really nice end papers and some extra things to make it like a kind of almost like, I like all of our future books to be, you know, our new thing is kind of like, I wish every book was like the limited edition. You know what I mean? So there won't be any standard. The standard is the limited. So you'll pick up one of our books and know that this is like the top tier stuff, right? Like that's what I want it to be. I want to give the, you know, I'll be dead someday. When I'm gone, I want people to pick up our books and go, damn, they sure set a high bar on content and quality. I mean, it's like, I want people to be able to keep playing these games long after we're gone. You know, it's just like the Survive the Sky to Spelunky. It's like, we worked with Douglas Niles. He did a lot of narrative writing on it. We tried to basically stand on the shoulders of giants, you know, and do like, basically take the work he did in the Dungeoneer Survival Guide and bring the next version of that. And then also make it rules agnostic enough that you can use it in 5e, but it'll continue on to use in Dungeon Crawl Classics or 6e, 7e, etc., and so on and so forth, you know, into the future, so that whoever carries on the torch when I'm gone or when I'm old can continue to build upon that, you know, just keep the spirit going, because the role-playing games is like, I mean, that's why I'm here. You know? Right. I started when I was 8 years old. I'm not going to stop till I drop dead.
I'm not sure when I started, but it was young. Third grade, however old you are in third grade.
Nice. I mean, that's pretty young. I mean, we were probably pretty similar as far as like starting age.
I started with the red box. Anyway,
Me too.
Yeah.
Red box, of course, and then AD&D.
AD&D, and then second edition, lots of second edition.
Me too. 25 years plus the second edition.
Yeah, I played
non-weapon proficiencies, weapon proficiencies, House rules. Did you do house rules too?
I did some. I still remember comeliness and all the alternate stuff.
Yes. I think comeliness was one of those like cult things where like we didn't have internet back then, but somehow it kind of caught on. Like, you roll all your stats, and then are you going to roll comeliness as well? You know.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was I think I learned it from a Dragon magazine.
Oh, that could have been where it started. You're probably correct. It's probably a
think
Dragon
that's-
Magazine article.
Or maybe something from World of Greyhawk. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember we used it for a long time, and we were like, why are we using this? Like, you know.
You're in the bar and you're like winking at somebody trying to get something from someone. You know?
It was good for the paladins, right? I mean, you know.
Yeah, I guess so.
And at 8-10 years old, that's you played a lot more hack and slash. There's a story somewhere in the maturity of a role player.
Yeah.
But like at 8 years old, you do this. In your teens, you do this. In college, you do this. When you're an adult, you do this.
Yeah. And I think it's like a part of it too is like the novels you're reading too. Depending on what age you are and what you're into, you start to read novels, it starts to open your mind a little bit more. You start to get ideas, like getting inspiration for things, right? So.
Well, I think the gravity is towards creating a character.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
at
then
least
the story builds around that, right?
Yeah. But for me, that was a big part of it. Like as a kid, well, I played a lot of paladins. I played a lot of fighters.
Okay. So you're the front. You're in the front line. Like
Yep.
you're holding the ground. You're don't cross this line.
The Holy Warrior.
I'm going to protect these people.
Yep.
I'm going to defend them.
And then sometime around college, with Rifts, I played a wilderness scout. And I think that was the first time I ever played a real character that I could write a story about.
Okay.
Like this guy has personality. This guy has this. It's not just about shooting things. It's not just. And I think that's the maturity of a role player.
And it sounds like a ranger kind of a character. Is that about?
Right? You could say it was ranger,
wilderness scout.
Wilderness scouting kind of character. But he was also a spy.
Oh, nice.
So
very cool.
The party wasn't allowed to. The GM told me he goes, well, I want you to play this character, and the party can't know you're a soldier.
And that's always fun. It's always fun when you get this secret from the GM and you can pass some notes or go outside and talk.
Yeah, and that's when I really started to look at writing a lot more. And I think reading influences us to, I want to play my character. So I want to play a character like so and so.
Yeah, or at least inspired by her. Or it might even be a movie you saw.
Or similar. And then it's like, oh, what would this character do instead of what would I do?
Yeah.
A lot of role players are like, I'm going to do this. But what would your character do?
Yeah. Yeah, and not only that, but it's like, what would your character do? But, and maybe it isn't entirely what would they do, but just like that whole thing of trying to immerse yourself in another perspective.
Yep.
And I think that's also a lot of people I've talked to in this convention, everyone seems to be very open-minded and curious, and I think it's because people attracted to this hobby are they are curious, they're creative, they're innovative. They realize that we're only as strong as our weakest link, and that we're stronger together than apart, because you put any group of adventurers together, you learn very quickly that unless you're working together like a well-oiled machine, the whole party is going to quickly start crumbling apart. If the cleric's not healing anybody and just all about themselves or something, then things will start to crumble.
Things get a lot harder when one individual is off the beaten track.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Well, yeah, we all got to work together. I mean, this thing is all types are needed. You must have the barbarian. You must have the fighter. You must have the paladin, the cleric, the rogue, the wizard. I mean, it takes a village, right? It takes a village, and it takes all the personalities and all of the types and all of the different perspectives. And the more we understand perspective, the more we understand about each other. The more we understand about each other, the more we're able to be stronger as a society, as a party, what have you, right? But yeah, it's something I love about role-playing games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, me too. And the more mature I get with it, and actually the more storytelling I do, the more I enjoy to challenge players to play characters. Like I'll go as far as, and I got this from Jeff Gerke's book, give me 3 things that were important to your character as he matured to this point. And then as a GM, I'll throw them at them. Like it might be... the guy's got a soft spot for kids. Well,
okay.
And they're facing...
You mean for maybe someone hurting kids or doing something malicious towards children.
Something specific.
Yeah.
Or, just a soft spot like orphans or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
Kids in need.
Kids in need, gotcha. Okay.
So, in one adventure, they were about to kill the bad guy in the character that has soft spot for children had to make a split decision. I had a cart of children start rolling down the hill.
Okay. Or he does the final blow.
Or he does the final blow.
Yeah.
And it totally saved the campaign.
It's got to be cart of children.
It had to be.
It's got to be. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I do, and that's what, I don't care what character I'm playing. That's what I do.
He threw his dice at me and said, "I hate
he's like,
you.
I hate you. You're making me do this."
Yes.
But you didn't make him do it.
And
he could have chose the other path.
That's right. Well, we got another 10 levels out of the game.
Yeah, I'm sure, because the big baddie escaped, and then now you have to track him down all over again, right? Yeah.
So, and it was very rewarding for that individual because he's like, wow, I didn't think that was ever going to come into gameplay, that, you know, I'm actually playing a character rather than a role.
Yeah.
A lot of people sit down at the table and are like, this is my job.
Yeah, my job is a paladin, but no, there's more to it than that. Let's go deeper.
You start adding personality, and it totally changes the gameplay.
Yeah.
Which, wow, did we get sidetracked?
I don't think we're sidetracked at all. I think that's what it's all about.
No, it is all about role playing.
Yeah.
So but you were talking about spelunking being universal.
Yeah, it's system agnostic. So like some of the guys that write for and work at Dungeon Crawl Classics, they came over here. I think it was last year, the year before they came. I think it was 2 years ago. They came over here and they were talking to Tilo Groff, who did a lot of the work on that. It was Tilo and Steven and Douglas Niles that worked on that, and they were just, you know, giving their accolades to them of how much they appreciate it and how they're using their Dungeon Crawl Classics games and how it's so easy to just plug and play into their games. And that is a testament to how they designed it, when the guys worked on it, to make sure that it works with any role-playing game and that you can plug and play it, and specifically that it stands the test of time. So whether we're playing 6th edition, 7th edition, 8th edition in the future, you can still use that book. And that's also why we did it in the classic black and white style. We did all black and white artwork. Kind of harkening back to the, you know, we wanted to kind of like harken back to the Dungeoneer Survival Guide. You wanted to crack it open and go, I remember this kind of art. I remember these kind of cave drawings and
I still
things.
have that book.
Oh, I do too. You know, it sucks is my book somehow ended up in some attic somewhere and got, I think at my parents' house. My parents were like, was this yours? And it was all like torn. I think rats got into it or something.
Mice.
Ripped my book up, and I'm like, damn it.
So
I need to get a new copy of that, the Dungeoneer Survival. Anyone out there that has one, an extra copy, I'd love to talk to you.
Second edition covers are my favorite covers of all
This
time.
good stuff, yeah.
Jeff Grubb, easily.
Yeah.
Something about him. I don't know, man.
Have you seen the documentary? There's a documentary.
no,
There's a documentary. I think it's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free if you're Amazon Prime. There's a documentary. I can't remember if it's called Eye of the Beholder. I think it might be.
It is. I have seen it there. I have not watched it.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's great. It's really good. They talk about the early days of TSR, and they give a lot of those fun stories that you'd only hear if you went out with Larry, which I luckily had the opportunity to do, and he did some art for us. And I got the original, which I, not necessarily bragging, but I'm just very proud of and excited about, because when I was a teenager, I had his art plastered all over my walls, all those artists we just talked about.
I wasn't allowed to hang up art, but I got the books. Man, did I buy
I
the
wasn't
books.
really allowed to hang up stuff either. I put stuff all over my walls, and my parents would yell at me and try to get me to take it down. But then I started drawing on my walls with markers and stuff, and they said, fine, just hang the art up. That's better than drawing your wall markers.
That's one way. I would have thought
I got in a
of
lot of trouble, but you know.
that. Yeah, we all did in our own ways, right?
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
did. But what was it, where I was going to go with it? Are you maybe going to, like, you're already doing Pathfinder 2nd edition or remaster stuff.
Yeah.
You ever think about maybe some Savage Worlds kind of stuff?
We actually have done some.
Oh, but it's not. It's over there.
It's all digital or it's print on demand. So you can get on DrivethruRPG. And we did do Savage Worlds, then we did Suede, you know, the new system, SWAD. We did the new system as well. So if there are Savage Worlds fans out there, you go to DrivethruRPG, you can find some of our adventures. We took our A-series adventures that we originally had for PF1. Well, actually, it's 3.5 back in the day. We did 3.5, Pathfinder 1, 5th edition, and then we converted some of them over to Savage Worlds, so you can get like the first 5 or 6 of the A series in Suede. So yeah.
So you can do more, or
Depends.
Too much work.
It's work, but it depends on the response. I mean, so far I would say the sales of that haven't been fantastic. They've been okay. I think if more people know they're there, more people buy them, or the more people contact me and say they want more of that. Yeah, I mean, heck yeah, we do more.
But that's generally the way it works.
Yeah,
supply
we
and
do
demand.
more. I mean, the thing is that, you know, the industry's in a state of flux right now. So, so you know, it really helps when we can hear from our fans. And I mean, it's sad but true that the wallet speaks. You know, so it's like what's selling is gonna be, that's how companies stay alive. And during turbulent times, the companies have to produce content that's gonna sell. I wish it weren't so. I wish that we could just do whatever we want, and maybe we can. And we'll see how Drow Borg does. If Drow Borg kicks butt, then maybe maybe we're gonna go even more off the rails and start doing some really wild stuff.
I think Drow Borg's gonna do well.
I hope so. I hope people like what we've come up with, because it's a weird, twisted system, but it riffs off of the Borg idea of the rules light,
Well, yeah, but that whole system, it's just almost everything that happens and it explodes. It just explodes.
Well, it explodes in more than one way than one. It might explode commercially, but it might also explode in your game session and half the party dies.
Well, that's true too. But I mean, I was talking with, I got to interview Tomas from Free League and Keith from Limitron, and we were talking about Morkborg in general and just how it works. And they're like, we just don't necessarily understand it. How everything with it just works. It just works.
It's DCC is they really are good at that as well. I mean, it all harkens back to AD&D First Edition, right? AD&D kind of set the the initial mold of that, and it's that. A bunch of random rolls, when you average them all out, it tends to average out, right? Curve. So you roll this thing and it's crap. You're starting with this tiny little shiv that does 1d4 damage, and that's your main weapon. You're like, oh, good. That's going to be helpful, where someone else might have a d8. But then you might get some really good armor when you roll, and that person might have crap armor, and your background might give you something that person doesn't have. And so that's where it comes into play of like, I've rolled all this random stuff, but so has everyone else. Now let's talk about our characters. Let's go around the table and talk about our characters. And then you go, okay, well, it looks like you're going to be in the front because you have 6 hit points. I have 1 hit point. Someone put me somewhere in the middle of all this. I do not want to be in the back or the front because, as we all know over the years, that being in the back's not safe either.
What? What are you talking about? I got players I've been playing with for 5 years that haven't learned that yet.
Yeah, I know. Somehow, I remember the last game, one of my players is like, the Drow Borg one I ran, he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be in the back. And then he's like, or somewhere in the middle. Because he's like thinking, he's like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
No.
What about the ambush?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it happens every time.
For those of you that don't know, as GMs, one of the best things to do in an encounter, if it's too easy, bring more guys in from behind.
Yeah. Or start it off from behind
or
when they're not expecting it.
Or from above.
Yeah. Flying creatures. Yep.
Yeah. Just flank them.
Yeah.
And they, believe it or not, they will thank you.
Pincer attack.
They thank you. They're like, you almost killed us. That made it worth it, right?
Yeah, it makes the battle a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting.
More epic.
I'm going to use the action economy for it. I mean, action economy, you can get into a rut. But if you as a GM change what's happening, add a trap in there, add an area effect, add just some terrain, it goes a long way to messing with that rut of move, swing, swing, move, swing, swing. I cast a spell. Change things around. You got more control over it than what you think. That would be my advice if I'm giving any advice.
No, it's great advice. It's great advice, and it's nice to have some things you can kind of keep hidden too. And sometimes in game sessions, I'll set aside some things. I'll set aside some cards that have riddles on them. I'll set aside some puzzles that are actual those like pieces of metal, they're all twisted around each other and you have to figure out how to undo them.
Oh, you actually use those?
I will, no, trust me, they are fantastic game aids sometimes. You keep those things aside, the riddles, those things, some different pieces of terrain, some different unique encounter ideas, and keep those to the side. You may or may not need them or use them, but if you get to a section of any game where things feel like they're kind of stagnating or something needs to be bumped up a little bit, add that in there, Now, it could be as simple as now the ceiling's slowly coming down this like a foot every round. And now the rogue has to go disarm something. Okay, you give them those chunks of metal and you say, here you go, make me a roll and I might give you some advice on how to start that thing and how to unravel it or something,
Yep.
And sometimes I'll allow them to do something. Like if you roll high enough, you can hand it to someone else in your group that might actually know more about those. Because I gave it to one of my guys in my game group, he's like, oh, no. He's like, you chose the wrong guy for this. He's like, I suck at these. I'll do this all day. I'll never get it figured out. So I said, all right, well, go ahead and roll. He rolled high. I said, okay, you can give it, choose somebody you give it to. And someone in the party's like, I'm good at that.
Give me. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Puzzles go a long way.
They do.
I just started using puzzles in the last year or two. And I think I'm going to use a lot more.
We put them on our website for free, by the way, like on our blog. Our blog has no ads, no garbage, but we do puzzles, riddles, and stuff like that. We usually do like one a week on there. So there's tons of stuff, like if someone wants like to grab a new riddle, because a lot of times riddles online and stuff, you end up with the same ones over and over again. Players are like, I've heard that one before, you know, the thing with the hourglass or whatever, you know, it's like, we do unique ones. We do original riddles that are brand new and stuff. So you can use something that, and sometimes we'll tie them into like things like D&D where it actually makes sense because it fits with maybe a monster or something, you know, so.
And that is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Mork Borg's next, or Drow Borg is next.
Drow Borg, yeah.
Any other plans in the near future?
Well,
I mean, you got a ton of product.
Yeah, we got, we've got the Rise of the Draft of the Fall. We got the Drow Borg. After that, we're doing something called Treasure of Falcon Cove. It takes place on the Oregon coast. Picture a la Goonies, right? You are playing kids in the 80s on the Oregon coast that have Dungeons & Dragons characters. Something happens and some magic from an ancient shipwreck starts to get loose and starts to alter reality. And now things that were once the imagination start to become reality, including possibly your own D&D characters, in which the powers start to be imbued in your own, the kids you're playing. So picture you're playing kids, playing D&D characters that can manifest themselves, but there's also monsters and things popping out around town. So you're running around in like Manzanita, Cannon Beach, Falcon Cove, on the Oregon coast, dealing with these challenges and picture a mix of like Stranger Things, Goonies, mix of all these.
Say Goonies.
Yeah, mix of all.
I immediately went right to Goonies.
But we're actually using some original stories by a storyteller named Stephen Rawl, who grew up on those beaches down there and told all kinds of tall tales to many kids over the years, and he's now since passed away. But we've been working on this book for him even since before he passed away, and it's going to be a fun adventure for kids and adults because obviously very nostalgic for our age.
Yes.
But fun for the kids who also kind of didn't grow up during that time, but are watching things like Stranger Things and very interested in it, or the Goonies, And hey, we just did the Goonies. God, what was it? Was it the Goonies 30th?
Yeah.
Was it the Goonies 30th? No, 40th? 50th? 40th?
It's 40.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I watched it in high school or middle school.
Yeah, so the Goonies 40th anniversary. We just had it. So exactly. So Treasure of Falcon Cove is the next big one coming up after all that. So that's one I haven't really told many people about that. So that's a big semi-secret that you can have as a big
and that'll be
expose.
Early-ish next year. You'll start doing whatever you're doing with it.
Yes, it will probably be early 2026 for Kickstarter. Yeah,
and then late 2026 if everything goes perfectly for fulfillment. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. So after the fall, we already did the Kickstarter. So Riser After the Fall is going to come out is going to be released in March 2026. Drow Borg is going to launch on Kickstarter September, October of 2025. But fulfillment will come probably mid to late 2026. And then Treasure of Falcon Cove will probably Kickstarter early-ish 2026 with fulfillment later 2026.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one other cool thing I noticed is you've got a new toy. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really a toy.
It's a tool. It's a play. Oh. It's a play aid.
Now I get it.
Amber.
Well, I only saw Amber that way.
Yeah. So Amber, AMBR. These are Amber cards. The whole deal with this is that I was going to my daughter's D&D club, and she had a lot of kids there that were struggling to learn Dungeons and Dragons. And I donated a bunch of products. I started teaching the kids, and I quickly found out that for whatever reason, they kept getting bogged down in D&D combat. They just weren't getting it. So I was like, we need to create a system for this. So I created Amber, which is action, move, bonus action, reaction. And so what you do is when you do each of these things, you just simply flip them over. So when you have these sitting in front of you, when you're done with the action, you just turn it over. With move, you could always, instead of flipping it over, you could turn it sideways if you've done half your move, and then you flip it over once you've done all of your move. And then, of course, bonus action, once that flips over, you'd still have reaction left. That would also remind the kid or the adult learning D&D that if they have an opportunity of attack or they have like a reaction like Hellish Rebuke, they get hit for some damage. Oh wait, I still have this reaction I can use. I'm going to use Hellish Rebuke and do some damage. Then on the next turn, they flip them all back over. My main goal with these is not to make money. My main goal with these was to help teach D&D, because if I could have had someone to come help me learn when I was first starting out, I would have absolutely loved that. And I want to make sure that I continue to pass the torch as well. So I have this, and I'm coming up with some other ideas on ways to help kids too. So if there's anyone out there that has nonprofits or wants to donate or wants to put me in touch with anyone that's doing this kind of stuff, the goal is to mass produce these and get them into schools and libraries and teen D&D clubs all over the world, really. I mean, starting with the US, and help kids learn D&D. I'm not looking for any financial reimbursement for that. It's just something that we want to get out there. So
have you done it as a print and play?
No, that's a good idea though. I've done it. I did a Kickstarter for it just to make the cards, to get the cards done, right? So we could get some of them going. So right now I'm doing them print on demand through Drive-Thru Cards, but ultimately in a perfect world, I'd like to have like maybe someone can go on the website and they can print them themselves, or better yet, where we could have people sign up through some kind of a program to get some kind of a package from multiple publishers of play aids that help kids and teens get started. I think it would be really neat to be able to have something like that that's some kind of a nonprofit. And I unfortunately won't have the time to put together a nonprofit, but I want to help facilitate. I want to be a part of what other people have going. And I've heard like the Lazy Dungeon Master may have some kind of a thing going where he's helping out with things like that. So someone I met at this con said they have lunch with him once a week. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll talk to him and connect me with him, and we can get, I think it was Mike Shea, right? The Lazy DM.
I think that's what.
So I'd love to be able to get these out there and into the world so that they can be a benefit to kids, teens, or even adults that are just learning 5th edition. So
maybe you can hook up with Free RPG Day.
That's a great idea. So Free RPG Day contacted me before the con, and I told myself I'm not gonna have time to talk to you until I get back. But that's a fantastic idea, because they said that they only do like 16-page books and beyond, right? But maybe they're willing to make an exception if there's something like this that's a play aid to help people learn, or maybe I can piggyback with another publisher to get them put into kind of a package with someone else's intro book or something, like.
Oh yeah.
The ultimate goal is just to get them out there. I don't even need necessarily credit for it or something. I just want to get them out there.
You want it to grow. I mean.
I want to grow for beneficial reasons.
Yeah. All right.
We're passing the torch. You got to keep that torch lit. Keep that flame strong.
Who would have thought that 50 years later we'd still be playing these games?
Well, I kind of always knew. I'm like, as I started getting old, the thing I was really excited about was when it stopped being something you get beat up for. Because remember back in school, you couldn't even talk about it. I mean, people.
I didn't have that issue.
Really? Well, you were one of the lucky few.
So, I grew up in a smallish town.
Yeah, I did too.
The neighboring town was smallish or smaller.
Okay.
And at 180 pounds, I was the big kid.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and I had a reputation. So my 2 older brothers.
Yeah.
They left a reputation.
Okay. So nobody messed with you.
Yeah, I was very much left alone. By the time I was a freshman, I'd already been training in the martial arts for 4 years.
Okay.
And everybody knew.
Yep.
And the teacher said, "That's a Lemke.
Don't mess with him."
I'm not. No, he said, "I'm not messing with
nice.
him." And it was the teacher that everybody was like, "Really? You're not messing with him?"
That's funny. Yeah, one of my good friends in high school, he was the DM for Planescape. His name was Eric.
Oh, wow.
And he was like 6 foot something. And he was, not only was he in martial arts, but he got a black belt in one martial art, so he went to another one. Then he got a black belt in that one, so he went to another. So he ended up with like 3 black belts. When I was hanging out with him, they messed with us once, and they never messed with us
you
again after that. No.
I had somebody attempt to mess with me once, and I put him in a locker. And then I closed it.
Oh, jeez.
And he was a senior.
Oh, my gosh.
When I was a freshman. And the same kid kicked the legs out, was bullying. He kicked the legs out from someone who was overweight. And I said, "Help her up." Yeah. He said, "No, you're not going to do nothing about it. There's 4 of us." I said, "I don't care what those 3 do to me, but you won't walk out of this school today."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, I'll help her up." Because I had already put him in the locker once.
Jeez.
But
there's sure some mean kids in school. Now they just harass each other over social media.
I mean,
but I'm glad to see that nerd culture is finally like acceptable. Not only acceptable, but people are enjoying it and they're like embracing it, and it's become part of the mainstream to the point where we've got things like Marvel movies and Lord of the Rings. I mean, Who would have ever thought like us being kids back in the day? I mean, our heads would have exploded.
Yeah,
I think our heads would have literally exploded.
They would have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of it too is cultures are a little different. We were in a small school, like my graduating class was only 140 people.
Oh man, you were in a smaller town than me.
Yeah, we had.
Wow.
I mean, my kid's high school band was bigger than my graduating class.
Wow.
You know, so we had some cliques, but as a whole, we didn't really have cliques. So I think because we were so small, we had kind of a different community.
Okay.
And yeah, we definitely bullied each other, but we called it camaraderie. I mean, we would walk up, bam, give them a good punch.
You're just kind of messing with each other a little bit. Not.
We would really punch people.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we would really hit.
Got it.
But we didn't. We knew who could take what and do what. Like we would do it harder for some.
Yeah, you wouldn't just do that to the nerdy, scrawny kid who's just trying to get down the hallway.
I don't feel that in my school anyone with me, there were people that definitely did it to coerce others.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I think it was very small. I mean, my whole high school was only like 500 people, and there might have been 3 or 4 people that did that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I grew up. I was very fortunate with that.
Well, that's good. So you didn't get jump playing D&D.
No, I got jumped at Akron University when I went there. That was just for walking down the wrong side of the street.
Oh.
That was totally different.
Yeah, I understand.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
That's a life thing that I learned. I'm still here, so I walked away.
I've had one of those too. I've been jumped before, and I was asking like, "What's happening? Why are you attacking me?" You know, like I don't know what I did.
You're just here.
But I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they just had their sights set on me, and that was the way it was, I guess, you know. So
that is, yeah.
Sometimes people just have aggression. They want to take it out on somebody.
Wrong neighborhood, wrong time of day.
Yeah.
You know, you're not supposed to be down here at night. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you can apply all that to role playing now. Because it's okay to bully characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, unless there's anything you want to add about all your really wonderful books, like, I mean, I see Mini Dungeon Tome. I see I don't know what Roltmork is.
Yeah, Roltmork is it's going a little bit back to the old school. It's kind of like an old school deadly dungeon with extremely deadly creatures, but there's a very in-depth story there as well. There's an entire language in the book. There's ways to decipher the language. There's murals that have clues in them. There's a multitude of things where you encounter something, the only way to overcome it is by using your wits. It's not just about rolling high. It's about using your wits to overcome the challenges. And it's also incorporates some new things like flow and stagnation mechanics, where we have creatures at the stat blocks, the normal text is in black, and then you have green text and some blue text. And the green text is when the creature's in stagnation mode. The blue text is when they're in flow mode. So we have these 2 different modes. So every creature has 2 different modes they're in. So when you encounter a creature that's in green mode, which is stagnation mode, they actually have different kinds of things they can do. And to affect those, or to change them, the characters can find things called flow tokens. There's flow and stagnation tokens. In the box set, they come with all of that. There's flow and stagnation dice, flow and stagnation tokens, but you don't necessarily have to have those to play the game. You can create your own too. Right. But you can throw them. So if a creature's in green mode, which is stagnation mode, they could take a flow token and throw it at the creature and change it into flow mode, from stagnation to flow. And so, like, for example, there's like a corrupted water elemental. It's green. You hit it, now it's blue. Now it has a totally different set of abilities and things it can do. As they're delving into the dungeon, they find out that this place was once a temple to the water goddess, Vasi. Vasi has long since kind of seems to have disappeared, and all of her priests have become corrupted undead. And you're trying to find out what's going on in here. And in one room, you reach this room, and all of a sudden, you pass out, and this haunting happens, and you kind of pass out, and then you take out these character sheets out of here, and they're color character sheets with artwork for each character and detailed information. You give one to each player, and you say, this is your new character. You are now priests living 1,000 years in the past. And you were living in Roltmork 1,000 years ago. Now they are starting to live through what transpired. And so as they start to live and learn about temple life, people start to die, and they start to live part of that story until they themselves die, at which point they wake up back as their characters, somehow retaining this knowledge of the past. So it gives them like skin in the game where a lot of times you read an adventure and as a dungeon master, you have this really cool story. You're like, well, I wish I could tell my players all of this. I only get to tell them like a couple of sentences. This one allows the players to actually experience what came before, therefore giving them, a reason to continue, a reason to kind of like figure out the rest of the story and try to set things right again. So it's a very involved, it's very immersive. We have an entire soundtrack. We have every single location has artwork to show the players. It has 20 minutes of like flow mode music, which is more like exploration, and then 20 minutes of stagnation music. We also have 3 bosses. Every boss has their own soundtrack, their own track on the soundtrack. We also have moving maps that you can plug into any TV. You can set a TV flat on the table. You plug in a USB stick full of these, and the newer TVs, you can just load it up and loop it, and now you've got a moving map, and you can set all your miniatures right on there. It also comes with tokens too of all the creatures, monsters, NPCs, everything. So you can put all the little pawns, the little standees. So you can put all those on there. You can put your miniatures out there, and it's on a moving map with the audio soundtrack. I mean, with the artwork showing where they are. It's massive immersion. Every magic item they find also has like a card that you hand them, and if they figure out what it is on the back, they flip it over and it has all the information about it. So it's a very immersive, very involved adventure. I would call it kind of a slow burn. Like it's not something that sells like hotcakes, and part of the reason why too is beginner players come up and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And I'm like, it's like the never-ending story when the guy's like, "This book is not for you." I'm like, this one's not for you. We need to put this back here. It's like, this is more for the veteran players. This is for the groups where they've been playing for a while. They know what they're doing. They know how it all works, and they need to up the challenge. And if you have those groups that are even beyond that level, and they're like, like say they start playing when they're 8 to 10 years old, like us, right? And they're now 50 or 60 or 70 years old, and they have got it down. They've seen everything. They've done it all. There's a hardcore mode in there. Anywhere on the page you see blood splatter, that's hardcore mode. So you can instantly go, well, I was going to do this trap, but these guys are they're acing everything. We're moving this to hardcore mode now. And so it allows some versatility. So it goes from difficult to very hard,
I think that is going to be something a lot of people are going to steal from you.
Oh, well, they can steal that all they want. I mean, Wizards has been stealing stuff from us for a while. I just found out that they stole 2 ideas from our books.
Nice.
During this con. Yeah. I don't know what to think of that, but I know that legally I probably have no recourse, but that's okay. They could come after me for Drow. If they do that, then I'll go after them for Survival Sky Spelunking Momentum that they used in Baldur's Gate 3, or the or the mini dungeons that are color coded one-shot adventures that they're now using in their new system or their new rules that they just released.
They used it. It's flattering. They're bigger. You inspired them, right? I mean,
yeah. It's kind of flattering.
Kind of in a way, it's kind of
slightly perturbed at the same time. I don't know what to think.
It would be both. I would be like, wow, that's really cool. Wait a minute.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Actually, what's crazy is this is totally off topic. I really am into the Elder Scrolls game. So when they had this Blades game on mobile, I started playing it. At one point, I get to the spot and it talks about Bavonia Pass. And I go, wait a second. That's in my setting. And I have it in Roltmork, and it was on my blog way before that game came out, and I have proof of that. And it came out in the, so one of the writers probably couldn't think of some creative content and went and grabbed something.
Well,
or maybe had AI pull it from somewhere, but I was like, I was actually kind of flattered. I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm not going to sue them. I'm just going to take a screenshot and share it to my followers on social media and say, hey, look it.
Yeah, in that case, it's a little weird.
The Blades is using a location from my world.
Yeah. I know in the last year, I've created 3 names.
Yeah.
And I've either seen them in TV or in print.
Isn't that weird?
After the fact.
Isn't that
and like
strange?
one of them was in Reacher, and it was Bazaar's Bazaar. I named a bazaar in my game world, Bazaar's Bazaar.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I know that, and it's not in print, so I know they couldn't have just taken it from me.
It could also just be one of those ideas, like that's what I thought with some of these things too. It could just be an idea and it's just floating around out there.
Yeah.
And so eventually someone else is going to have that
Same
thing.
idea.
It's the same thing with it. Someone did a Kickstarter recently for this little mini dungeon, this little like pocket dungeon where you could take it with you. Todd Gamble and I came up with that idea. The very first Gen Con we came to back in like 2012, we came up with this idea of having this little, like, almost like cards, but like all these tiny miniatures and like a little dungeon that you could play on cards. So you could have like, one of those little mobile, like portable games like you used to have with like those games that you would play in the car.
Yeah.
So you could sit there on the airplane and set up and say, let's play a 2-player D&D game.
Pocket editions.
Yeah, and a really tiny dice and stuff. So we came up with this idea because he's really into miniatures. So Todd Gamble and I had talked about, we could do this like miniature little dungeon game and stuff. Never did it. And then just recently, a few months ago, someone came up with Pocket Dungeon on Kickstarter. Just, it went like wildfire, But it's just like anything. We have an idea, it floats around out there. Someone may take it and, it's kind of like, I can't remember who said, I think it was like John Lennon from the Beatles said something about like everybody kind of steals from everybody else. It's like we're all inspired by something somewhere from someone, and other people get inspired by those ideas, and it just keeps going.
In high school, my creative writing teacher always said, "You're not going to write a new story, but you'll create new characters."
Yeah, true.
She's like, everything that has ever been possible of being written about has been written.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if technology changes, somehow, some way, that story already existed.
Yeah, it's like Joseph Campbell, right? What's it called? Tale. Oh gosh, I'm so tired after this con. There's so many days in this con, but was it Hero of a Thousand Faces? Is that the title
That
of
sounds right.
Joseph Campbell book? Yeah. He'd always say like he'd go to all these different cultures and see that the same tales would be told. He's like, there's a certain amount of these stories, right? There might be like 7 or 8 different versions that repeat and are just slightly different, but they continue culture to culture because it's our brain has this idea, has this mentality. We like latch onto this idea of these stories. Someone says, I was down by the river and I saw a tiger, and and it's like immediately your brain goes to that and you start thinking about it, and then what happened next? Did the tiger go after you? Did you get away? Like, you immediately want to know, well, what happened after that? It's like your brain latches onto that because it's like a survival instinct thing. You want to know what happened next because you don't want to be the one that the tiger gets.
No, you don't. All right, I think that covers that. Everything.
We can talk all day.
I can see that.
We can talk all week.
We've already been going an hour.
Hi guys.
That's an hour-long interview.
Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button and share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country, maybe a game club. I don't know, you're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye guys.